Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tic Disorder Secrets, a natural approach. For those of you that are new to the group, welcome. We are so glad that you are here. Our focus here is a natural approach to tic disorders. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Dr. Piper Gibson, and I am a mama who has been in your shoes. My son was diagnosed with a transient neurological tic over 13 years ago. Yes, the title and the names have changed. Same symptoms, same thing. And when the conventional approach failed us, I went back to school to relearn everything I thought I knew about health and wellness. And so now I help scared, frustrated, overwhelmed parents get access to the tools, testing, education, and resources they need in order to start reversing their child's tic disorder symptoms naturally. So I am a science and data nerd. I am a doctor of holistic medicine. I am board certified in natural medicine. And I am a science nerd. So I read all of the latest studies, data, information that your neurologist and your physician are probably not reading and probably not up to date on. So there is this really awesome brand new study that just came out. And I read this study and I thought, oh my gosh, this is an awesome study. But there is a big but. So stay tuned so you can hear my but about what this study is missing. There is a missing piece of this study, which if you understand most health studies, there's always a but and there's always something missing. So they are not complete. Let's talk about this brand new study. So in this brand new study, they were measuring inflammatory proteins in the brains of tic disorder and Tourette's patients. So what that they found was that MCP1 levels were elevated in tics and Tourette's patients. So what does that mean? Well, I'm going to break down for you today what MCP is, what it means for your child's diagnosis, and what is missing from this study and what you should be doing instead of testing this one single marker. So MCP1 stands for monocyte chemoattractant protein 1. It is a small protein made by various cells in the body, especially in response to injury or infection. If you've been following me a long time, you know that I talk about the study that came out in 2023 that shows the link between tics and Tourette's and dysregulated immune systems. So here we are. We have a marker called MCP1 that can be measured in response to injury and infection. Its main job is to act as what we would consider a chemical beacon. It attracts certain white blood cells, monocytes, and macrophages to areas of inflammation or damage. In children with tics and Tourette's, patients with what they were finding with tics and Tourette's, is that these MCP1 markers are elevated. So they measured all of these chemical markers for inflammation in their bodies, and they found this particular marker was elevated. So MCP1 is a key player in inflammation. So if we look at past studies and we see that most of these people that they're testing have a dysregulated immune system, what does that mean? It means we have inflammation going on. So MCP1 is a key player in inflammation. It is crucial for the body's immune response. When tissues are injured or infected, MCP1 levels rise, drawing immune cells to help healing and defense. It can be linked to many diseases from diabetes, heart disease, arthritis, brain disorders like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and now we are seeing it in Tourette's and tics, cancer, and even everybody's favorite, COVID-19, which we know that inflammation from COVID-19 sticks around for a very, very long time. It is a lot of fun. So it can also be used as a marker for disease severity. Because MCP1 is elevated during inflammation, it can serve as a biomarker, which is what the people in this study were doing. They were looking at MCP1 as a biomarker, meaning its levels in blood or urine can help doctors gauge how severe a disease or how much inflammation is present. So how many of you have ever been to the neurologist or the doctor and they were like, your kid has tics, let's look at their immune system. Let's look at how much inflammation they have going on. I'm going to say very, very, very few of you, and I'm going to say it's probably less than 1%, because I know that was not the case for us. And this is how I ended up down the brand new health and wellness rabbit hole. So why do we care about MCP1 and what is missing from this study? So the central role for MCP1 is to look at chronic disease. MCP1 is not just a bystander. It actively drives inflammation and can worsen or prolong many chronic health conditions. So this is really key when we're looking at tics and Tourette's, and we know that we have a prolonged chronic health condition. Now we know that MCP1 levels are elevated in a lot of this population, at least the population that they were studying. So MCP1 levels can be a target for what the conventional medicine calls treatment. So when we understand the control of MCP1, we can better manage and prevent complications from disease. And then MCP1 also being that signal of need. So this is where we're going to talk about what's missing from that study. MCP1 is a signal of need for further investigation or more aggressive management for underlying chronic health issues. We're looking at this marker, and even the study, we are saying this is a signal for further investigation, right? So I'm going to talk about in a second what this study is missing. So in summary, great study. MCP1 is a key protein that attracts immune cells to sites of inflammation while essential for fighting infections and healing. Too much MCP1 can drive chronic inflammation and worsen many diseases. So healthy lifestyle choices matter. What we are looking for as far as results recommendation, MCP levels are what we are looking at to reduce the risk of inflammation over time. So great study. But here is some proof and some connection. I love connection. This is why we use all of the functional lab testing, is because when we can look at these kinds of studies and then connect them and say, okay, these people have high MCP1 levels, but we also see from the 2023 study that they have dysregulated immune systems. Where's all this inflammation coming from? So here's what this study is missing. And if you have questions, you're watching, please feel free to drop them below. Here is what this study is missing. So we're seeing, we have data, we have studies, they're looking at these levels. But just because you have an elevated level, it isn't telling you what's at the root. Why does your child have elevated MCP1 levels, if that is the case? And yes, they can be tested. However, our whole goal is, why are we going to test one marker when we can figure out what is driving your child's symptoms in the first place? We know it's elevated inflammation, dysregulated immune system. So what this study is missing is, okay, yeah, great marker. But how do we figure out why those MCP1 levels are elevated in the first place, right? We have to dig deeper. We have to figure out what's going on under the hood. And this is why for the past 8.5 years, we have looked at functional lab testing, and functional lab testing, because we need to know what is going on under the hood. You don't just drive around with your check engine light on for months, ignoring it, hoping that it'll just go away, right? But that's what we do with our kids' symptoms. We drive around for months or years, just ignore it. They'll grow out of it. And many times it gets worse. But when we are looking at it from the perspective of our child's check engine light, you would get your car to the dang mechanic. It is the same thing with your child. So we have these studies. And you're going to say, well, my doctor never told me that. My neurologist never told me that. That is because they are not up to date on the studies. Unless they are specializing like we are, they are not up to date on the studies. They're too busy with all of their 9 million clients who have 9 million other chronic illnesses. So now that we can see this data and we can see these amazing scientific studies, really it's critical. Hey, you have inflammation, you have dysregulated immune system. We can look at one marker for that, MCP1. We can look at so many other markers like CRP. We can look at other markers for inflammation. And we can see that, hey, you have elevated inflammatory markers in your blood. Okay, whoop-de-doo. What do we do with that? Our point is we need to get to the root. This is where we put in the functional lab testing. This is where we need to look at what is going on in and around your child's body, what's happening in their environment. When we look at the 4 triggers for tic disorders, we see mental, emotional, we see environmental, we see biological, and we see physical. So what's going on mentally, emotionally, bullies at school, is your boss a jerk? Yes, that is going to impact things. Is it biological? What's going on in your body? Do you have food sensitivities? Do you have leaky gut? Do you have other toxins hiding in your bodies? Do you have a parasite? When we look at environmental, it's like, what's going on in your environment? What are you cooking with? What are you cleaning with? What are you storing your food in? What are your kids eating from the environment? Are they eating a lunch of hot Cheetos and Coke? Like, what is going on in and around their environment? So when we use the functional lab testing, we can get very, very clear on what is causing the inflammation in the first place. So on one hand, you can have a study and you can know, oh, I have some inflammation. I got my inflammation marker tested. Okay, great. What do you do with that inflammation marker? This is where we test, don't guess. This is where we figure out what's driving the symptoms in the first place. So really cool new study. And I love studies and I love the data and I love the information. But what's missing? How do you get to the bottom of it? How do you get your child back on track? That's where the functional lab testing comes in. So I hope you found this helpful. Anybody that's still watching, I see a couple of you, drop your questions real quick. I will stick around for a minute and see if you have questions. Keep in mind, it is Tuesday. Every Tuesday, we are doing our welcome call. So if you are interested in finding out more about what we do here at Regenerating Health, you can join the welcome call. The link is in the post from yesterday. It is a Zoom link. You can hop on and we will be on the welcome call. You can drop the word call here. We will also drop that link for you. We have some really cool things coming your way. We are looking at doing a book club where we break down every chapter of my book and talk about how you can get your child back on track. We are going to do some parenting out loud where I'm going to do some live workshops to give you guys some cool tips and tricks and pointers. So thank you for joining me. I hope that was really good information that you did not know previously. So if you are interested in working with us and want to know more, you can also drop the word call below and we will send you that link and share with you more about how we can help you reverse your child's tic disorder symptoms naturally.